Hello, everyone. Welcome to SendPulse event, the event that we love, the event that we're always waiting for, especially this one that is about a very important topic, customer retention, that it's pretty important for all business. But before we go and we keep talking about everything that we want to hear, how is everyone going? Can you guys see me and listen to me well? Please let me know here in the comments. So if there's some problems, we can adjust. And also feel free to let me know at any time of the conference if you feel like the voice is not too good, if the image is glitching, please just send in the messages here and we're gonna figure it out. But yes, I'm very happy to be here. Oh, I have to introduce myself. I almost forgot. I feel like we're friends, but I don't know your name and you don't know mine. So it's time to introduce myself. Hello, as you can see here, my name is Bianca Coscia. I worked for SendPulse for 7 years, for a few years, and I'm here today to be your host. And in the end, I'm gonna talk a little bit, give a little bit of my opinion. It's gonna be a panel discussion about community, which is also pretty important. And I'm here to guide you to this amazing journey that we are gonna have today. So I hope you enjoy. And also, important point, I am from Brazil. I live in Brazil, I live in São Paulo. So if you are from other countries, send here in the comments as well. I would love to know where you guys from so we can exchange this, because something beautiful about SendPulse events is that we can meet people from all around the world, just like it is working here. We meet people from different places, and that's amazing. I love it so much. So now you guys already know about the event. You guys didn't mention anything about my image or audio being bad. So that makes me understand that it's perfect. You guys already know where I'm from. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about SendPulse. I hope you guys already know who SendPulse is. If you don't know, buckle up, because it is the best platform for you and for everyone. So SendPulse is the organizer of this amazing event, and SendPulse is also an all-in-one marketing automation platform that helps business manage your customers' communication across multiple platforms, like email marketing, chatbots for a lot of different platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, a lot. So you can have everything only one place. And it's the best thing for you to use to make sure you have a good communication through start until the end, and you make sure you're sending the right message to the right place, to the right person, because all of this matters, and matters a lot. Because if your customer is in one place and you're thinking that he is in another, you need to have all the communications platform in one place, and that's exactly what SendPulse does. And here on the screen, you have a QR code that you can open your phone and scan and create an account with us. I am sure you're gonna love it, because there's no way for you to not love it. Like I use, it's not, and I'm not saying that because I work here. I'm saying that because I use SendPulse daily, and I'm always talking with customers, and I know how much it helps. And at this time, guys, you need to run. It's time to do automations. There's no other way. Let me sit here straight. So we already checked most of the things, but we have a few minutes before I introduce the next person. So we also have a community that you can join, and like I mentioned, the panel discussion is going to be about community. So of course we have a community. So we have a community here. You can scan the QR code and go there. It's the best community ever. You can meet people from, again, all around the world. And we also have a guide, as you can see here in the image, an exclusive guide for you to see everything. And you can only have this guide if you are in the community. So it's pretty important. And this already gives a preview of what is going to be the panel discussion. This shows that you have to give something exclusive for your community. But I'm not going to give too much spoilers. You have to stay here. So we already addressed most of the things that we have to address in the beginning of the conference. We're also going to, pretty important point, the most important point maybe, we are giving certificates for everyone who is here on live. In the second part of the conference, we are going to share the forms for you to fill up, and you can have your certificate. And once you get your certificate, make sure you publish on LinkedIn and tag all of us so we can comment. And we're like, oh my gosh, yes, it was amazing. We learned a lot together. So you have to stay here so you can get the forms to fill up and have your certification proving everything that you learn. And talking about learning, now I'm going to introduce the first speaker, my work friend, Nataliya Yarovinska. She's the Chief Commercial Officer here at SendPulse, and she has 11 years of experience in CRM and EPR, and of course, business automation. From implementation to commercial strategy, she built SendPulse customer success function from scratch. Yes, from zero, from ideas to a scalable department that actually move retention numbers, and not only in Ukraine, okay, from a lot of countries. She is the girl that you have to talk to when you're talking about CS. Now she leads partner and commercial growth here at SendPulse and spend most of her time working with hundreds of business and partners across different markets. So hello, Nataliya, welcome.
Hi, Bianca. Thank you for such an introduction. You know, when you have this information on LinkedIn or on Instagram, it looks just as everyone else's, and then when you hear it out loud, it sounds
You're like, oh,
so important. Yeah, I feel like I'm just an Oscar or something.
I love this because I have the same feeling, and especially when other people are saying, we're like, oh, okay, we are that big of a deal, and you are, Nataliya. I always learn a lot with you, so I'm pretty sure people are very excited to hear more about everything that I have to say. I'm gonna leave now. Feel free to scream my name if you need something, and have a good speech.
Thank you, Bianca. Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to see people online because right now we all are used to having each online event recording later and being able to see it later. But I am very thankful to everyone who is online today. I would really like you. I know it's tough to type something. Yeah, but I really like to know what type of businesses you have because I have a few different examples prepared, and I can tailor the presentation and the examples more to you, everyone present online, rather than just doing something more generic. So please write in the comments what type of business you have, and I will definitely try to use it and tailor the presentation to you. So today we are talking about retention. I'm personally responsible for the retention metrics as well. So retention is my responsibility. Retention is my passion. And it has been something that I've been trying to figure out for the last probably 7 years with SendPulse. So I'm the person who thinks that retention is not something that you can just set up once and forget about it. You cannot fix retention just once. It's a flow. It's changing because our customers are changing. And also, my core belief, as it's stated on the slide here, is that retention does not start with understanding why the customer stopped buying or why the customer left. Retention starts basically before that. And today we are exactly going to try and figure out when. So instead of the agenda slide, today let's look at the topic of my presentation, and basically in topic itself lies what we are going to do today. So first, we see that we will try to understand why retention is complicated and what we can do about it. And then we will actually just dive straight into understanding the details of what habits we need to introduce and what structures we need to build. So we will discuss the system that is retention management. And also we will look into quite simple but effective ways to use automation to improve your retention. So today we will not be focusing on a long-term huge strategy with a lot of, customer flows and understanding the whole customer journey. We will look at things to start with. And I'm seeing that you are sharing your businesses. Thank you for that. If anyone else would like to contribute, please write in the comments what type of business you have. So let's start with a simple fact, and it's that people normally do not treat retention as a profit center. So we know that in most businesses, sales is treated like the department, basically, that generates profit. And retention is more like cost cutting. And unfortunately, when we think about cost cutting and we think about generating profit, obviously the choice of budget allocation goes to something that generates profit. So I would really like to highlight that we need to look at the retention as a profit center. So basically, when we reduce, when we increase retention by 5%, we are increasing the profits we're getting. So retention increase is generating profit. So that's why it is very important. Also, yes, there is some basically cost avoidance because it is 5 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than to keep the existing one. So basically, we are not spending more to acquire new customers. We are spending less and getting our customers back. And also there is this saying, I'm sure you all heard it, that a happy customer will only tell about 3 people about their experience, but an unhappy customer will really go a long way and share their experience. And it's approximately 10 people or more. So also I think that you all see that online people are more likely to say if they don't like something, as opposed to if they really enjoyed the experience. So the second point why retention sometimes loses focus of the businesses is because it raises a lot of questions. Yeah. So when we speak about the new customer, it's very straightforward. So it's someone who doesn't know about us. We try to understand their background, their type of business, as I'm asking right now, so you can share your information. Basically, you know something about the business. You try to tailor your ad to this type of business. Then you get a lead. They don't know anything about your company, or they know little, so you want to talk to them. If you have an online platform, basically you want to do a demo, as in SendPulse. And if you have a product, you want to talk about the product and do a conversation, which is more about the product. And then basically your ultimate goal is to sell and to close the deal. So it's very straightforward. It's easy to implement in CRM, and the flows are quite simple. Now retention comes. So why is retention complicated? Because there are so many questions, and depending on how you answer them, everything changes. So when do we contact the customer the second time after they talk to us, or after they purchase something? What do we say to the customer? If someone did 2 purchases, should it be a different message as opposed to someone who did 6 purchases? Or maybe if someone made a purchase 6 months ago, what should we tell them? So there are a lot of questions, and they can be tailored differently. And as I see, there are some also B2B companies, B2B platforms and SaaS companies here present, and there are coaching consultants, completely different businesses. In terms of sales, there would be more similarities. In terms of retention, SaaS platforms would go one way, consultants and coaches would go the other way. So again, it becomes more complicated, and it's understandable. Also, there is always the question, when does retention actually start? For example, for SendPulse, we have people working on marketing retention. So it's retention marketing in marketing. And we have customer success department. For example, customer success department in SendPulse starts actively interacting with the customer after the first sale. So basically, we have sales team, and then we have a handover after the first sale, a handover to the customer success and to retention marketing, basically. But also, some companies would say that retention starts with an unhappy customer. So if it's a retail business, if it's an online e-commerce business, they might have retention manager who manages complaints, basically, and maybe is working on a loyalty program. So again, because there are so many options in retention, we have to agree it is more complicated than sales, and it's harder to set up. So basically, let's talk about what habits can help you start understanding and untangling your retention. First, we need to answer all those questions before. And again, they can be answered differently for different types of businesses. So the key goal here is to understand your customer, understand why they're buying from you, and understand what they might be interested in later. Understand what challenges they face as they are using the product. So basically, we need to know more about the customer, and we need to gather the data to analyze. So the first is your business needs to have a memory. So for example, I see that there is a handmade sneakers creator here. So I'm guessing that when you start, you have your store, and you might have a few customers that you're managing everything yourself from the start, and you kind of remember all your customers. You might have a notebook, you might have a spreadsheet, but you remember your customers. At the point where you start hiring managers, at the point where you create a platform with a couple of managers, for example, at this point, your memory is not able to hold everything, and you need some way to make this not just your personal memory, but make it the memory of the whole organization. So that's where CRM comes. It's basically a way to know everything about your customer and remember everything about your customer. Two ways that businesses are using CRM is, of course, when a customer calls or when a Instagram DM comes, you can already know that this is the customer you already talked to before. So you're not starting each conversation, like from fresh start. You're not starting with what is your name, how can I address you, additional questions, and the customer is sitting there like, yeah, I just ordered from you 5 days ago or 2 months ago. So first is you have everything in one place. You see that the customer is already returning customer. So it's like helping you be welcoming to returning customers. So as you see here, it can be inbox with email. Also, it can be different. This is example from what can be integrated on SendPulse. But again, it's the key message here is that you need the CRM. So you have the inbox emails, you have the messages from Instagram or from TikTok. They are all in one place, messages from WhatsApp. And you already just start talking to the person and you see all the information about them and everything that other managers before you or you in previous month, for example, knew about this person. So this is the first one. And the second, of course, when you have this information about different customers, you have the information to analyze and to make predictions. So to do some automations, you need to understand just a general type of customer, a general flow, and CRM is basically letting you gather the information about customers for aggregation and analysis. And of course, it helps when you also have the communication channels and calls within the same CRM. So going forward, the second habit, which is very important, is that always think about the segment you're addressing. In other words, always think about who you are talking to and why. Because then you can make the message more relevant. Even campaigns that are sent, they can feel relevant. For example, as you see here, this is just a simulation of a Gmail. And so it's like a simulation of different emails from different companies. And basically, depending on who you are and what you're interested in, something that stands out to you would be different. So all the businesses are competing in our inboxes for our attention. And for example, if I have a child going to school, probably words that will stand out to me would be end of school, summer camp, because it's something that I'm thinking about. So it makes sense to try and trigger my attention. On the other hand, if I'm looking for a job and there is a way for you to know that I'm looking for a job, then I would look at job trends. So basically, for you, it makes a lot of sense to first gather information about your customers and try to think of words that they use when talking to you. So the words they use when talking to you, keywords or how they phrase their questions, they will be a hint how to trigger their attention. So for example, if I'm getting, like I'm the fresh user of Whoop, I've been using it just for a week, but you see that also they're sending a lot of different emails and it's also part of retention. So I'm their new customer. I already made the purchase. But they keep communicating with me because it's a complex product and they want to make sure that I use it properly. I understand why I need it. And in this way, they will make sure that I maybe upgrade at some point. I maybe buy accessories. I maybe recommend this to everyone. And as you see, their emails and efforts are paying out. Are paying out, not sure how to say it correctly, because I'm mentioning their product to a big audience. So again, retention can be about trying to get attention of your customer once more and trying to sell them something else, or trying to keep them engaged from the start. And I think that since we have quite a few platforms here, the same as SendPulse. So we do have onboarding sequences for our customers. We do have engagement activities that we try to pull our customers' attention back to us. So it's something that is also a strategy. And of course, here it shows email. But it's very important to keep in mind that the channel is important. So if you talk to your customers on WhatsApp, it is better to do a WhatsApp campaign. So they definitely expect it there. If you talk to your customers via email and they registered an account with you or left their email when making an order in your online store, then of course use email. that would be dependent on the preferred channel of the customer. And our last step, so basically now we have 2 habits. Let's imagine that we gather all the information we have in CRM, then we learned trends and we learned more about our customers. We are able to target our campaigns to a few different segments. So the next step is automations. The questions that are easy to answer. So let's automate something that is obvious and then go into more sophisticated details. So basically, at the point of a sale or at the point of the first call, at the point of the form filled, or maybe you can even consider if you're selling, for example, your services as an expert via Instagram, you can also use like a first DM as a trigger for welcome series to try and send more information about you, to try and get more information about the customer. So welcome and onboarding series have quite high conversion. So we send emails in SendPulse and we get around 60% open rate for onboarding emails versus quite lower percentages for other types of emails. And we have customers who are fully automated in WhatsApp. So they send welcome messages on WhatsApp. And we have customers, mostly creators, experts, who do like this Instagram campaigns when you need to do automation, like a type word guide under this post, like comment guide under the post, and I will send guide to you. So they automate this part with SendPulse, and then they have 24 hours for more automations. After that, they can send themselves like a notification to go and do some manual communications. Also, it is hard to understand like what happens with each customer journey, and customer journey mapping is not easy. I'm fully aware of that, but you definitely know when the customer made a purchase. And depending on the product, you can do a post-service review request, post-sale review request. So ask them how it's been. So it may be after 3 months. For some products, for example, for SendPulse, we do like after a month because it takes time to adjust. For physical product delivery, it is better to do the post-sale review a few days after the delivery has been received, and to give some time to understand what's happening. And you will build basically loyalty and surface then happy customers with that. And customer reactivation, many options here, but I would focus on one thing, like one possible timing. So if I sold someone, or if I did some event, so I see that we have event organizers here as well. So if I did an event, when do I think I will have another event? Maybe if the customer came to the event, a day after, I will say, thank you for this, and here is my plan for the next sessions that you can attend. Or maybe you will just send them the event details later. So if you have customers who bought something from you, maybe in 2 months, you can suggest some fun accessory for that. So here again, it depends on your business. You just choose one thing. So you don't need to go into too much complexity. Just choose one day when you can send a re-engagement email with then an offer. And last chance, I had to write it here because it works. So every time you put this last chance, it seems a little bit, I don't know, too used, but it works because we as humans, we often click when we see that this is the last opportunity for us to do something. So 3 main automations: welcome series or onboarding, post-sale review request, and customer reactivation. And to sum up, basically, so the foundation here is 2 habits to create the memory of your business in CRM and to do segmented campaigns. And we see customers doing it both in email and on WhatsApp. On Instagram, it is more automations that we see businesses using. And basically for automations, this is just the 3 to start with. Again, when you get a hold of it, when you understand what is going on, and when you feel in control of these basic automations, then you can go into more detail. And 3 things to keep in mind is timing. So personalization is not just using someone's name. So sending it at the right time, 3 days after the purchase, 20 days after the purchase, or 6 months after the purchase, depending on your product, is very important. You should choose the channel that the customer prefers. So preferred channel is, again, a great marker on how to make the message more personal. And of course, there are high touch customers, low touch customers, depending on the industry and on customer segment. Someone will be great with automations, but for some customers, we automate the notification for ourselves. This is something that CRM is also good for. So you don't automate the message. You automate the reminder, like a task for yourself to go and do something. And that's a good thing as well, which helps not to forget. So 2 habits to build and 3 automations to launch that I hope will help you feel like you know where to start from and understand that retention is not that tough. And this will be your start to even complicating basically your retention back and making it more intricate. So I urge you to start with collecting data in CRM, with doing the segmentation and setting up your first automations this week. If you are not a customer with SendPulse, please register and use the QR code here on the slide, and you will get the email service for free for 1 month. So you have time to set up in your own pace and then try to use all the other opportunities that you have with SendPulse. And of course, try to uncomplicate your retention and keep as many customers with you as possible. So please use this QR code to register with SendPulse to get a free month of email service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nataliya. It was awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for all your knowledge and for the amazing presentation. And by the way, I loved that you're like, I am going to do the presentation based on the segments that we have on live. That is amazing, top tier, perfect. And I'm pretty sure everyone enjoyed as much as I did. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure. And thank you for the activity in the chat. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yes. So guys, make sure you sign up to SendPulse. 30 days free to use email marketing test. Do a lot of testing because that's the most important part. So make sure you sign up. Also, the link is here in the comments. Let me see if we have any questions. I don't think so from what I was checking. Yeah, no questions. So it was perfect. If people have questions, they can hit you up on LinkedIn, on SendPulse. They can find a way to ask questions.
Or even here, you can leave the comments still, and I will reply in the comments as well.
Yes, Nataliya's
I would be happy to reply any questions if you have them. And yeah, please add me on LinkedIn as well. So let's be friends there.
Yes. Thank you so much, Nataliya.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
You have great speakers.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Now we're going to the next speaker, which is a person that if you guys are familiar to SendPulse conferences, you guys already know him by the name that it's Anton Voroniuk. He's the CEO at SkillsBooster, and he's a pioneer figure in digital marketing and AI-driven education, which is amazing. And we talk about this multiple times in different conferences. And he has a career spanning over 17 years as a Google Academy trainer. A big deal, okay? And Gen and I enthusiast, Anton has transformed and the learning journey for over 700,000 students. Yes, it's not 7, it's not 100, 700,000 students globally. And his foundation and expertise is rooted in master's degree focused on search engine algorithms, which is pretty important, and also machine learning and AI, which is what we talk about all the time, and we're going to learn a lot with him today. Welcome, Anton. Nice
Hi,
to see
Bianca.
you.
Nice to see you again.
Yes. Last time was in Lisbon. Now we are here.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time is going to be in person again.
Yeah, sounds great. Guys, happy to see you all. This online event is always a big passion. So right now I'm sharing my deck. Yeah, you see my deck. Let's get connected. As Nataliya loves to connect all of you in LinkedIn, I have the same good tradition for everyone who will find me on LinkedIn and connect. I have a gift, and the moderator will share this gift in chat. It's my ebook, Your AI Marketeer, which helps you to save 15.5 hours per week on daily marketing routine. So if you want to get my ebook, just find me on LinkedIn, connect, and in the end of my presentation, moderator will share with you details how to get this gift. So today we are talking about top 26 AI tools for customer retention. Honestly, it will be universal marketing tools, so you can use them not just for retention marketing, but for other marketing campaigns. And I hope that you will find something useful that you can implement on the daily basis. Bianca told a lot of things about me. The basic idea that we are educating on the two biggest marketplaces on Udemy and Coursera. You can find my courses about Gen AI. You can find a lot of courses about email marketing, SendPulse, retention. So feel free to join my students community. I will be happy to see you there. Let's talk a little bit about AI and how AI is engaging with all of us and how it changes everything that we have right now. First of all, we always start this list of the customer retention tools, marketing tools with ChatGPT. What shift do we have right now? You need to understand that we right now moving from the ChatGPT as a search engine. When you have some issue, I don't know what is retention marketing. You are going to ChatGPT, type in what is retention marketing and get some answer. This is not the issue because right now ChatGPT is also moving from prompt engineering to agent engineering. You already have agent mode inside ChatGPT. You have MyGPTs that help you to build your custom workflow. So you have some regular tasks in your retention. You need to answer your customers. You need to rewrite something. You need to analyze something. So you can easily push it in MyGPT, and this will help you to do a lot of job. If you didn't test agent mode inside ChatGPT, I highly recommend to do it. You have pretty limited functionality, so you have like 30 or 40 agent mode credits in the basic $20 subscription, but this is where you can start automating your retention task with most common and the most popular tool in AI world right now. How to start doing this? My recommendation is sit down and write top 10 tasks that are getting your time in the retention marketing. Try to summarize them, write them one by one. You can write the number of hours per week, per month that you are spending in this store. And this is where a lot of time is going out. And for a lot of things, you can automate just adding the right prompt. In other cases, you will create your own MyGPT. For other tasks, maybe you will schedule in ChatGPT that each Monday, first Monday of months, you have agent mode. Agent is going to some website, gather some data that you need to improve your retention marketing, add additional information in database, and this is where you have the whole flexibility of the toolkit. If we talk about the second big name, it's definitely Google Gemini. Google Gemini helps you to work not just with text, but it's the most powerful Nano Banana graphic model. It's Veo 3, which is the most powerful video model. What we love in Google Gemini, if you want to automate some customer retention task, you can create your own personalized gems, and gem can be created for free. For example, in ChatGPT, to create my GPT, you need to have paid subscription. The same in Claude, you need to have paid subscription to create projects. In Gemini, you can do it from free tier, and this is really amazing. Claude, the third biggest name, because I even named them Holy Trinity, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. They always chasing each other, which model is more powerful, which can give you more power in retention marketing. But right now, Claude is definitely leading a lot of these things. So if you want to automate your tasks and start doing it with Claude. If you have some developer skills, definitely you can go directly to Claude Code. If you're a marketer which knows what is automation and not afraid of API, connectors, MCPs, etc., you have the power of Claude Connect. So you have the Claude Cowork, which you can connect all your tools that you need for retention marketing and start orchestrating all this stuff directly from the Claude. And of course, you have a lot of other amazing functionalities like Claude Skills, Claude Design, etc., that will also accelerate your retention marketing end goals. What's next? If we talk about the Perplexity, on the one hand, someone was telling that Perplexity is dying, it's just about researchers. Right now, Perplexity is leading one of the most effective, I can say, AI browsers. We are talking about Perplexity Comet. So if you have some task when your agent need to go something and do something for you, you can easily ask Perplexity Comet to do it. You need to install it. You need to get a subscription. But this is where the agentic flow starts be implemented in the customer retention task. So test it, try it, and see how it works. Microsoft Copilot is on the 5th place. On the one hand, all of us are not very happy about Microsoft functionality, but a lot of us are using Microsoft software. So Microsoft Copilot is something that you need to start understand, to love. And honestly, they have a lot of big shifts during this year. They improved a lot the Microsoft Foundry, which helps to build AI agents. And when we talk about retention, about automation, definitely a lot of things you can connect independently in your like closed software sphere, and you will get the result that you need. DeepSeek. If you want to get something quick, fast, and pretty cheap, DeepSeek reasoning models is still maybe the best solution on the market. So it's not so hype like 1 year ago, but you still have the flexibility to use this toolkit and implement it further. Grok. Grok started 1 year ago with one of the most powerful deep researchers. A lot of retention marketers who I know, they're still using Grok on the daily basis for a lot of tasks, from copywriting to deep analysis to integrating tools to learn something as a database, etc. But overall, Grok is one of the most powerful tools, but I will place it on the 7th place where you need to start. Manus. Manus started as a big hype agent. Maybe it's the first like democratic and popular AI agent that started in the March of 2025. Right now we are in 2026. We've already seen the hype over the OpenClaw, but at the same time, Manus is already not just some Chinese startup based in Singapore. Manus is the part of Meta. Mark Zuckerberg bought Manus in 2025 after the Christmas. It was maybe some kind of Christmas or New Year present for Meta. And right now you have a really marketing agent that can done a lot of job. You can easily automate and connect a lot of stuff, and you can ask it to go to send an email, to get the database, to analyze the database, to visualize some information, to follow up. It has connectors, it has scheduled tasks, it has connection to email, to Telegram, etc. So honestly, Manus is building something universal AI app that can do the job, and this is really amazing. Make.com. Make started as Integromat when you can connect everything with everything, but right now it's the way where you can build your simplest AI agents, and that's where the magic starts, when you can connect it to some of your favorite retention marketing software, for example, for SendPulse, and get a connection to any other software if it's needed. NA10 is definitely a big part of the global landscape, but if Manus, it's totally common. Any guy without technical skills can set up basic AI agent there. Make is a little bit more complicated because a lot of workflows from the automatical background came from it. NA10 is designed as no code, but sometimes you will still need to come back to low code, and you need to write some Python code to make these things happen and to work. Definitely my favorite tool, and we are today on the SendPulse conference, and we are working with SendPulse for ages. Maybe we are their client. It's hard to remember, maybe from the beginning of SendPulse, we are using all their functionality. So email marketing, CRM system, transactional emails, chatbots, online course builder. So most of the features we definitely use. And if we talk about functionality inside SendPulse that is really making your AI journey more flexible, more interesting, more efficient, is the possibility to create your own chatbot flow with AI. You have AI agent that communicates with customer autonomously. You have voice messaging recognition. You have image generation, the ability to connect any AI model through SendPulse MCP server. So you have a lot of functionality and flexibility. Please test it, try it. So today I've seen that you have special bonus for registration in SendPulse. Use it, and you would love this tool as I love it. Midjourney. Definitely retention marketing is less about content creation, it's more about retention, but we have tasks that need some visualization. And Midjourney is still pretty powerful image generation opportunity. So you can generate images, you can integrate them in your communication strategy. It's one of the old players, the same like as Perplexity. It's still alive, but has pretty powerful and hard competitors like Leonardo. If you are using Canva, you definitely feel that some features inside AI in Canva becoming better and better, and this is why they bought Leonardo 2.5 years ago, and this makes the possibility to create any visuals, animations, banners, etc. much more easier with this toolkit. Higgsfield's AI and OpenArt, they are two big tools that help you to aggregate all your video, image, audio creating models in one place, and this is where we can start working one by one and implement it on the regular basis. Google Video right now is definitely one of the most powerful way how you can communicate and retain your audience in customer retention process with video. So if you want to generate something, if you want to animate something, make some short video explainer, Google Video is so maybe one of the most powerful ways how you can do it. Chinese Kling AI is another big tool that helps us to create a lot of content. And honestly, with the functionality of this tool, you get a lot of really useful answers. HeyGen is something that brings you to the next level of the AI customization in the video creation. If we talk about the retention marketing features, you can personalize your video message to everyone. So you can record on HeyGen like, hello, Nataliya, hello, Bianca, hello, Alla, etc. So you can make your video emails for everyone, and your retention system can decide to which audience you will get it. You can implement there some automation or decision making like AI agent or autonomous AI agent system, and this where the magic really begins. I love what HeyGen have done with the Avatar 5, the last version, when they have the possibility to create these videos. What really implements it's on the next level, and just play with it, test it, and see how it works. With picture. Sometimes you need to communicate with video, sometimes you need to communicate with voice. Your retention marketing in messengers definitely can be built on the voice messages. And one of the most brilliant voices in AI world that I have here, which are not metallic, which are not making you struggle and say, yes, this is a AI voice, is Respeecher. Respeecher is a great AI startup. Y Combinator alumni, they sounded Hollywood films. For example, some of the new Star Wars films, when you hear this Darth Vader voice is from Respeecher. Right now, they help you to make your retention easier with the voice using the Respeecher models. So test it, try it. I really love them. 11 Labs. 11 Labs is maybe the leading software in this sphere. We use in both Respeecher and 11 Labs. It has more flexible models, but if you use the basic plans, definitely it's maybe not so excited. But Pro plan, I love it. My Pro voice sounds like me, and I use it a lot in our communicational chains, in content creation, etc. TruePeer. This is another way how to make your retention more personalized. If you want to make your language barrier less crucial, for example, you are communicating with someone in English, but your accent makes your life harder, so you can record the video with TruePeer. TruePeer will polish your video. It will take all things like I don't know, etc., and make your sounding like perfect natural speaker. It will take everything that from your screen and visualize it. So this will make your communication perfect. You can make individual presentation, you can send it, you can show it. So TruePeer is something which makes your personalized retention marketing much more crucial. Of course, if we will try to calculate the cost for tokens, it's for B2B, maybe enterprise B2B, in some cases for ABM, because you can't make it like mass market. But when you have really big clients, you need to showcase, you need to present, you need to show professional, to give the professional video like in personal communication, follow up with videos, etc. TruePeer is something is amazing. And coming back to another big name, Hagen, it has Hagen avatar integration. So you can make like Loom circle, so some picture of the man who is watching on you. And this will give like personal touch. Your AI avatar is explaining what people see on the screen, what is happening on, and this retentional way is one of the most beautiful in ABA marketing to make the communication as personalized as possible. Ad creatives, if you need some more ads and functionality to create the communication, you can go to Ad Creative. They have the possibility to create images, videos, any other communicational channel. So feel free to test it and see how it works. Banner Boom, another way how you can create the visuals with AI, with the power of AI. So test it and see if it can be possible in your activities. Lovable. Definitely, when we communicate and we have our customer retention funnel, we need some way to get the user as fast as we can. And prototyping in Lovable is something what we really love. It makes your possibility to get all in one, and it's something what we really excited on. Test it, and let's go to the next slide. Of course, as any retention marketers, you have also reporting in your due. And when you need to build the next step, you are going to Gamma app. You will ask to visualize the report, to add details, etc. And this is maybe the next magic of AI, when some presentations with your reporting to show funnel, to explain metrics, to explain what is the plan we have to change something in our retention marketing. Right now, you have Gamma app. And Gamma app, it's something that help you to move to the next big level. You can easily create any deck, visualize it, and implement in your retention cycle. So short slides are super fast. The long decks are a little bit longer, but as any tools, you have access to MCP API, so you can implement it, get slides, attach them to your emails or in Messenger, and see how it works for them. The last but not the least in this toolkit is Futurepedia. If you want to get more AI tools, AI marketing tools, AI retention tools, Futurepedia is my favorite, I can say. Sorry. tool for discovering new. It's a big directory of AI toolkit. You can just go to Futurepedia and type retention marketing, and you will see a lot of amazing and new AI tools. You can go them, you can test it, activate free trials, decide is it something for you or you need to skip it. I really love to browse sometimes Wikipedia when I have a time, because honestly right now AI is a little bit overwhelming. I think that for you too. And with Wikipedia, the process of structuring AI tools, finding something trending AI tools is what I can definitely recommend. So as I try to be in time and we still have 5 minutes for questions, this is my LinkedIn. I will be happy to connect. Organizers will share with you my ebook, Your AI Marketer, for everyone who connected. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn and connect. And maybe that's it. Bianca, I'm ready to answer the questions. Feel free to ask them, and I will be happy to share. Let's get started the Q&A session.
Thank you so much. It was amazing, like always. And I saw here that people were learning a lot. We have 2 questions. And one is, what strategy of customer retention could be used in off-campus student housing in the US?
What strategy of customer retention could be used beyond campus studies or housing? Yes, it's a good question. So how I will come in this solution, because I honestly know nothing about housing, student housing in US. So first of all, start from the research. You can use any of the tools that I've shared at the beginning, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. Start deep research. From deep research, you need to get understand the target audiences. You have your user personas, and you will get it with this deep research. The next stage is to chat with this user persona. You can ask AI act as target audience number 1 of campus student housing in US, and start asking about what retention strategy can be valuable there. So this is how it works. It's called like cabinet survey. So when you are not doing direct work with your customers, but you will have some ideas. The next stage is classical survey. So you need to go to some campus student housing and ask them what retention strategy can be implemented for them. Try to listen, try to write down, try to examine, and also AI in this case can be very helpful assistant. For example, you can add to your meeting some like read AI, TLDV, etc., any AI note taker, and after that you can chat. After you will make like 5 customer development interviews or 10 customer development interviews, you can chat with this AI and ask what are the same insights, what are the same pains, what a strategy in customer retention will be implemented for this target audience, and this will work. So my recommendation for you, as I don't have a direct answer, it's to start from research, start from cabinet research, add survey, use AI on all of these stages, see what will work for you, and test, and one more test.
Yes, that's the key for everything. Test
Yeah.
everything and a bit more, and when you think you're done, test one more time. What else do we have here? Okay, we have, it's not a question, it's a statement, but we can discuss a little bit. Retention is human contact, avoiding bots or voice machines.
Yes, it's a great point. A lot of people telling that they are tired of AI content, so AI content makes them unhappy. But there is another issue. The barrier between AI-generated and human-generated content is smaller and smaller. I had a discussion yesterday with my co-instructor, the guy which knows me like for many years, and we didn't were in content like for 2 years, and he asked what's new. I told, okay, we are in the process of building something big. We already created our AI video production machine, and he told, okay, show me. And I gave him a few videos that we generated with Cage, and he told, is it you or is it AI? So the person who already knew me for like 12 or 15 years can't recognize, is it real me or it's AI generated AI avatar by Anton. So it's still tricky. We don't have, I can say that AI avatar quality right now, it's like 7 from 10. And the same 11 laps pro voice quality or speech quality, when you listen my voice and when you listen 11 laps voice, the regular user will not feel this difference. You will not hear metallic. You will not hear some like notes that make it unrealistic. Accents, it's also, you can decide you need Portuguese, Brazilian, or Portuguese European. So everything you can check in a few settings. So right now it's still 7 from 10. When we get 8, 9 from 10, this fiction of real human and not real human will be lost. When we will get it, it's a nice question, because the last kilometer is the main issue of any delivery. So I believe that definitely in the next 2-3 years we will get it.
Yeah, it's a good point, because every new technology, it's the same. Oh, it's not that good, or it's good for only people are afraid because it's new. But it's what we have been talking for many years, and not even us, like people before us and before and before. You have to start slowly and know where to implement, because every field has their specific things. And if you implement everything that people tell you, it's going to sound weird, because that's not for you. So you have to do your research. You have to analyze what you can implement, or you should skip. But I work for SendPulse. I use bots for everything. I think bots is a great for retention, and it helps a lot. So
yeah, and you have a great bot.
yes. So it's always knowing where to implement and what to implement. And let's see how it's going to be the last kilometer, like you said. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, that's all the questions we had for today. Let me just triple check. Yeah, that was it. Thank you so much. We are waiting for you the next time, because
Yes,
it's
thank
always
you guys
a
for
pleasure
having
to
me.
learn. Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
See ya. Well, it was awesome. I love to hear Anton talking about AI. I always learn a lot with him. And like when you have 26 new tools for you to explore, it's the best. And like I mentioned, testing, and testing, it's always the way to go. And you need to understand before you're taking an extra step. So it's amazing. Anyway, let's go to the next talk. But before we go to the next talk, I'm just going to do a rewind here, so we make sure we all on the same page. First, the main page that we have to address is the YouTube channel. If you are watching us and you didn't like the video, or you didn't subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do it right now, so we can be extra happy today. But for real, if you were liking and enjoying this conference, make sure you like the video. And if you like content like that, please subscribe to SendPulse YouTube channel. We post a lot of things here, not only conferences, but we have YouTube videos about marketing, tutorials for SendPulse. It's a great way for you to learn how to use SendPulse, and more than just tutorials, because you can learn how to do it, but you can learn the strategy and have a background for you to implement what we can offer here. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel and make the best out of everything that we are going to teach you. The second point is the community, because we do have a community that you guys can join. You can talk with people from all around the world, like for real. All SendPulse customers are there. I mean, not all. But SendPulse customers have access to this community, and they ask questions. It's like a forum, and it's amazing. It's a great way for you to make connections, partnership, ask questions, learn more about SendPulse. And more than that, if you scan this QR code, you're going to go there. You're going to be redirected to a guide, and it's an amazing guide exclusive for community, and it's a guide for WhatsApp for customer retention. That it goes back to like, let's use what we have, the tools that we have to make our job better and faster. So here in this guide, we teach you how to use WhatsApp for this, which is amazing. And about certifications, I saw that someone asked about certifications. So I'm going to mention it again. We are not going to give the forms right now. We are going to give the forms after the next speaker. We always give the form in a certain period of time of the conference. So we make sure you guys are here and you actually saw everything so you can get your certification. But after the next talk finish, I'm going to come back here, talk about the form. You're going to send out the link. You guys fill up the form and you're going to get your certifications. Again, once you do it, please post on LinkedIn and tag all of us. And now we're going to go to the next speaker that I hope I can pronounce your name right. If I didn't, sorry, I'm Brazilian and we can make mistakes. So the next speaker is Jaco Prinsloo. He's the Nexlo Technology Solutions, the founder of Nexlo Technology Solutions, digital specialist, app developer, and system integration specialist based in Pro. As a founder of Nexlo Technology Solutions, Jaco specializes in building user-centered digital experience that transform complexity into clean, intuitive customer journey. What I love it. Like, there's nothing that I love more than a clear and intuitive customer journey. It's what it drives me like in heaven. I love it. Anyways, his work spans customer web and mobile app developer and e-commerce platform marketing automation, WhatsApp chatbots, API-led integrations with platforms such as Lightspeed, Pass Creator, CRM, and other business systems. So hello, welcome. You are on mute. We cannot hear you.
Let's try that again. Hi, Bianca.
Yeah. Hello.
Right back. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. That's a massive introduction. I mean, I'm not sure I understand half of what you just said, but that's amazing. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Like, I always, when I'm talking about people, I always like to give my opinion because like it's important and what you do, like it's amazing. So we're pretty excited to hear everything that you have to say. So feel free to start your speech.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think customer retention in 2026 is certainly a hot topic and certainly one that I think a lot of businesses, regardless of the nature of your industry or your vertical, is something that you're asking some questions about.
Yes.
I mean, so much has changed over the last 18 months. And I think what Anton just showed us is that there are numerous platforms. And I mean, he only listed 26 of them now, but you could effectively have the biggest marketing and AI team in your business right now, and it costs you maybe a couple $100 a month. And you can compete with the biggest businesses out there. And that has fundamentally changed a lot of things. And one of them, obviously, is the fact that now that we can compete with big businesses on a basis that is no longer a massive marketing team or a massive data team or a massive analytics team, or because we can have these in various forms, you know, at a fairly reasonable subscription in most cases, means that the space has changed quite considerably. So technology ultimately now is not the differentiator anymore. Because technology to a large extent has now been leveled. I mean, and we'll look at that in a slide in a minute or two. So we've got to ask some different questions now. Is how do we can talk about automation, we can talk about how do we retain customers, but before we get there, we've got to ask some fundamental questions about our business and our policies, because if those aren't aligned with our customers, then everything else is going to amplify the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll get looking at all of that. So just 1 second for me. And I will share that. There we go. That should pop up in a second. There we go. Right. So I think, I'm not sure sorry, I've got this dual screens. Let me just change that a little bit. So a little bit there, then I think you've covered all of that. I'm not going to dive into any of that anymore. So what my first sort of question to the audience is that if we talk about, you know, think about the last brand that you generally came back to, you know, not because you had to, And not because they had your card on file, but because you really wanted to. And then let's talk about why. Why choose a specific brand to come back to? And I think there are possibly a number of reasons. One of them is that they reached out to you at a critical point, which would speak to the automation system. Potentially it's definitely not their loyalty program, and it's definitely not their discount codes, but sort of being there at the right time, potentially showing you the value they've created. Those are all potential sort of reasons as to why you went back to them. So, sorry, just give me 1 second to just align all my things here quickly, and then we'll jump right into it. So again, let's move up a little bit here. Right. So ultimately what it comes down to is that when we answer this question honestly, the underlying question or the underlying factor has to be trust. If we're not trusting businesses, why would we go back to them? And certainly voluntarily. So for us to build trust with consumers and ultimately therefore build a retention strategy that ensures that we retain those customers, we've got to ask some fundamental questions about trust and whether, number one, fundamentally our business supports trust, and number two, whether the mechanics that we've put in place amplifies either our extraction strategy, which hopefully is not the case, or ultimately, and you'll see that in a second here, our retention engine. So does our current business policies support an extractive policy, or does it support an aligned policy? So what we need to ask ourselves is foundation question number one: is our business structurally worth coming back to? Do we align ourselves with our customer, and when they win, we win, or are we at opposites? The foundation question number two that we need to answer is about, are our policies aligned to the customer? And once we've answered those two questions, we can jump into the mechanics or the strategies or the tactics that we need to apply to amplify that. But if these fundamental questions are not positive, we're going to amplify the wrong thing. And I think that's quite important to understand right from the start. So it's all good and well to dive into tactics about how do we generate or how do we create strategies and tactics to retain customers. But if fundamentally we're retaining them for the wrong reason, it's going to be a temporary retention in any case. So the mechanics that we're going to look at later in this talk would be the reason we've proved value to our customer, moment we've showed up at the right time, that it's as easy to come back as it is to leave. There aren't lock-ins, we're not making it difficult, and we're building trust by creating an environment that says we trust you and therefore you can trust us. We're talking about cost, but not cost in terms of rand and cents or dollars and cents, but that leaving our business actually comes at a cost to you, but it comes not at a monetary cost, but at an identity cost. And we'll dive into what that means a little bit later. And then the idea of ritual. We build anticipation because content has become very much a commoditized topic or a commoditized feature today or these days. So if we don't build anticipation and we don't create those moments that people really look forward to, we're going to lose them in terms of our bigger need of keeping customers engaged. So foundation question number one, then we dive into and say, well, why does this matter? And it matters because of what Bianca and I just spoke about, that effectively the capability gap has collapsed. Suddenly you can have tools that rival the best businesses in the world for a couple of $100 a month. You can have effectively the same teams, the same capabilities, the same skills at a fraction of the cost, on demand, and generating quality content that is absolutely competitive with the best in the industry. So the capability gap has suddenly moved and means that average businesses or smaller businesses can suddenly compete at a level that maybe previously would have been difficult. So, but what is important to understand in this whole thing is that ultimately automation amplifies what your business already is. So if you have an extractive business where your business structure and your business policies are aligned to shareholder value and not to customers, your automation policies will amplify that. If you have a business where your structure and your policies are aligned to customer or to the customer, your business process automations will automate that. So, and just as a quick look at in terms of what has changed over the last 3 years, for the same capabilities today, we pay about 100 times less than what we paid for in 2023. So that's how far we've come from the early ChatGPT models in terms of capabilities. So I'm not talking about, frontier cost. I'm talking about the capabilities and what those cost us. Channel APIs have matured. Platforms are increasing in scope and in complexity and in the ability to deliver services by the day. And ultimately, your data team now is not a team of people, but it's some settings on the settings page. So things have changed quite dramatically in that space, and that's provided a whole lot of businesses, smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses, the opportunity to compete at a level which was previously unimaginable. So what we're saying is that when we serve customers, automation scales service. When we're extracting from customers, exactly the same happens, and customers notice that, and ultimately they vote with their wallets, and you won't see them again. So fundamentally, you need to understand that the principles of your business needs to be sound. Otherwise, retention will always be a short-term game. In fact, retention would be actually irrelevant to you because you'd not be in a long-term game. And that sort of puts us into that first question that we've just asked and saying, so how do we know whether our business is actually structurally worth coming back to? And question one would be whether you make money when your customer wins. And we all know grudge purchases like insurance is exactly the opposite. And some of the insurance companies have tried to say, well, if your claims are lower than we expected, you get some out bonuses or some bonuses back, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, for many businesses, there's not alignment between the customer and the business. The one needs to lose for the other one to gain or to win. And that, in the longer term, is a sure way to see customer churn happening. And number two is your price tied to the value delivered? Or is it tied to the value that the market would absorb or what the market would accept? And you can win that game in the short term, but in the long term, if your price is not tied to the value created or the value delivered, you're going to have trouble with people coming back and ultimately showing trust in that you're delivering value for them as a provider, as a platform, as a agency, whatever the nature of your relationship may be. So what often happens in that space is that you see that what they call enshittification is when platforms ultimately start off with a whole lot of features at a set price, and over time the features tend to erode, and as we push more value towards shareholders and less towards customers, the platform degrades and the experience decays. So if you're in that sort of space, you need to ask yourself whether you understand that, number one, and number two is what your long-term goal is, because customer retention is going to be a very difficult topic to deal with if that's your approach. So would your economics survive zero friction exit? So I mean, if a customer had to pack up and leave today and we don't send them through massive sort of 5-stage processes and retention specialists and all the rest of it, could your business survive? And then number four, does it get better the longer they stay, or does it get worse? So what we tend to do is for new customers, so in many cases, businesses are focused on sales, and they tend to be significantly more heavily focused on sales than on retention. So what happens is new customers get special deals and special promos and free trials, and ultimately those free trials tend to go into some sort of free period or whatever the case may be, or discounted period. I've just received an offer for 95% off for 6 months from a very prominent accounting platform. That's definitely not being offered to existing customers. So as the platform degrades and as the services degrade, we're charging existing customers more, new customers less, and we expect customers to stay. I mean, so you've got to ask yourself whether staying longer actually makes it better. And if your answer is no to that, again, we need to come back to saying that foundation question number one is probably not in your favor. And therefore, retention strategies need to first go back to saying, let's audit our business and get in line with our customers before we can adopt mechanics to deliver retention strategies. So jumping into question number 2 that we looked at earlier. So are your policies actually aligned with the customer? So what happens in most cases is that the longer you stay, the more expensive it gets. And I think we've spoken about that. Do we have a very complex sort of exit process? So when I want to leave the business or leave the platform, whatever the case may be, is it significantly more difficult than when I signed on? Because then that again shows us where the focus of the business is. And again, retention, when you effectively have a victim type of approach to customers rather than an alignment type of approach, means that we're going to have some difficulty building retention strategies when effectively the business isn't interested in retaining customers, it's interested in locking them in. And that's a very different conversation. So we've looked at some of the loyalty taxes here, hidden fees that appears, support that's treated as cost centers. I just, in fact, read before I came online a long post about someone that is an American Express cardholder and how it took them more than an hour for a high-level American Express cardholder to get hold of someone to help them with a basic sort of need. So, we've got to just ask where the customers, the customer and the service providers actually align on that. And the retention is going to be a big challenge if I have to struggle to get in touch with someone to help me with what you've promised me as a business you will do when I signed up. So the retention engine looks a bit different. We need to make it easy for people to leave. But by making it easy for people to leave, we should also make it easy for them to rejoin again. Because when we don't lock in people, we're creating trust. When we go through the process of loyalty tax, and when we make it difficult to cancel, we're breaking down trust. And by breaking down trust, we're making it more difficult for people to commit long term. So we should move away from the idea of locking in and almost tricking people into these long-term deals. And that is absolutely a sort of shareholder approach rather than a customer alignment approach. And therefore, retention strategies are going to be very hard for you to deliver successfully. So to give you one idea of how policies can be aligned with retention strategies, or how business policies can be aligned with customers, is something from a business called Chewy.com in the US, pet toys and so on. And this is their returns policy. And many other businesses have sort of retention policies that are convenient, but no one quite has something that is extreme as this. But what this does is create an immense amount of trust with their customers. So much so that 84% of their businesses now is recurring businesses through AutoShip, because they've given their consumers their word saying that if you and your pet aren't 100% satisfied, no worries. Return it within 365 days, free shipping. And if it doesn't make sense to return it, don't worry, we'll send you the money and we won't ask you to send it back. And so much so that it's one of the biggest examples of retention business in the industry, because their policies aligned with them showing the customer that we're not here to take advantage of you. We're here to support you. Next up, that's the principle. The policy creates the trust, and the trust creates the relationship. And the relationship ultimately is a business in 2026. Okay, right. So now very quickly, if you look at your business, you say, if we removed every switching cost, if we have no more data points, we have no contracts, would customers still choose you? And if the answer is no, retention is a problem, and it's going to be a problem. If it's yes, then the mechanics we're going to look at now will amplify your results for years to come. So first, fix the fundamentals before we introduce the mechanics, because the mechanics will amplify the wrong thing if we don't fix the basic. So if you have an extractive business model, which is aimed towards shareholders and not aligned with customers, you can't automate your way out of it. You'll be stuck in that. So fundamentals first, automation second. Right, so mechanic number one. So just very quickly for those that have just joined, if you look back at where we started, we've looked at two fundamental questions about whether your business is structurally worth coming back to for a consumer and whether your policies align with the consumer. And then we look at the 5 ways that you can amplify that answer. Okay, so back to that. We're looking at, there we go. So number 1 is we provide them a reason that we've created value. And this is an underused tactic in many ways. We see businesses like Strava and Spotify use it to some extent now, where they're using the data we've effectively given them and given it back to us and say, here's your year in review. This is what you've achieved. Here's your Wrapped. Here are the songs that you've listened to most. And by doing that, we've as a business, Spotify and Strava proves to you that they've created value for you during the year. You've listened to these songs, you've logged these activities. And not only that, it becomes for them, it becomes one of the biggest engagement days for them in terms of the annual calendar. And it also speaks to the ritual we spoke about earlier, that there's this day in the year that people are waiting for, or this day in the week, or this day in the month, or whatever the case may be, that people are waiting for, that ultimately helps them to realize that you've created value for them. And what often is the case here is that people leave not because you failed, but because they remember that they forgot that you succeeded. And that's quite a significant thing. And that's why we need to make sure that we remind our customers that we've helped them achieve certain things. And it sounds obvious, but it's very few businesses that are actually doing that. So next, we move on to the idea of saying the right message at the wrong time is spam. The right message at the right time is service. So how do you ensure that we are delivering the right message at the right time? And your business needs to be focused and obsessed in 2026 with a second. The right message at the right time. So the moment becomes important, not the message. Making it easy for customers to return. By allowing them to leave easily, we should also allow them to return easily. Because at some point, the customer would ask whether this is the best platform for me, and they may explore something else. But if as soon as they indicate to us that they're no longer interested in our services, we go and delete and block all of their accounts or all of their services, and it becomes a massive churn for them, or massive task for them to return. The challenge is that they won't. So effortless return is an important mechanic that we need to build into our systems to allow customers to return. So when the exit is friction free, the entry will be trustworthy, and that's an important element for us to keep in mind when building these systems. There's a statement that you can take home: your competitor isn't another brand, it's friction. We need to make it simple and easy for our customers to move between services, but ultimately based on trust. Okay, so leaving costs them something, and some of the businesses that have done this really well, businesses like LinkedIn and to some extent Facebook, where you develop a role and an identity within that platform, or the community for that matter, and you achieve certain gamification results, and ultimately leaving means that you forfeit all of that. So you've built up to a level of expertise, and your community or the community in the platform recognizes that experience. Leaving that platform ultimately costs you that trust and that level of skill and expertise that you've established on the platform. So building retention systems that ultimately cost people not monetary amounts, but value that we've created for them, means that we can build a system that retains people without them feeling that they need to pay for it, and therefore distrusting your service. And there's the summary of that. The only switching cost that matters in 2026 is identity. So create identity in the means of switching cost, not monetary value. Okay. So ritual we spoke about very quickly earlier, and this is about expecting something to happen, because content is no longer key. Content is commoditized. Content is generated by AI to a large extent. So creating those personal moments, creating the ritual that people look forward to, is ultimately something that keeps them coming back. And if you're not creating rituals, then you're missing out on consumers coming back to your business. Okay, so what are we saying? The big advantage in 2026 isn't the tool, it's the discipline. Okay, so every mechanic that we used to cost big figures. You've got access to all of them now. And because we've got a leveled organization or a leveled playing field now, it's no longer the tools that determine the success, but it's a discipline to use tools and to align ourselves with our customers that ultimately result in retention strategies that amplify positive results. Okay, so there it is, all in one screen, 2 questions, 5 mechanics, and that's how we look at customer retentions or customer retention in 2026. Okay. Next steps for you then, don't build all 5. Start with 1, audit the foundation, make sure you're aligned with your customers, and from there we build and test and iterate. The line to leave with: trust is the asset, policy is the deposit, and automation is the amplifier. And that is my 25 minutes up. Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you so much for your presentation and for all your knowledge. Oops. Okay, I'm back. We have one question here that is, the retention engine is also money. So it means expand for loyalty, right?
That's an interesting one. So I think the retention engine is ultimately trust. And I think that's sort of the way we need to look at it. So I don't think you can't look at a retention engine as money, because and I think actually what's on screen now sort of speaks to that ultimately the policy is the deposit. And if we look at trust then as the asset and automation as the amplifier, we need to say that we can't look at loyalty as a cost center, because we need to have loyalty fundamentally ingrained in our, not loyalty. We need to build trust fundamentally with our customers in our business. So anything that we try and sort of build on top of that for the sake of making it look like we care about customers will ultimately become an expense, but it will also become a drain and a liability in your business. Because if you're not actually aligned with your customer, pretending to be means that you're going to be introducing a lot of cost to your business that ultimately will not provide you with an ROI.
Perfect. We have another one now that is, any onboarding tips for new customers?
I think yeah, your onboarding process needs to focus on time to value. You need to get customers to value as quickly as possible, because the sooner you get them to value, the sooner they start to value your platform, the sooner they trust in your platform, and the less likely they are to leave. So if it's a complex process and it's difficult and it takes long and it takes them months to get to a place where they start to see value, you're going to lose their trust, number 1. And number 2, you're potentially going to lose that customer. So focus your onboarding process and your onboarding steps on getting them to value first. So share templates, create easily downloadable templates that they can import data with, or whatever the case may be, but ensure your onboarding process is highly focused on TTV, getting your customers to value and showing them the value of your platform or your business for that matter.
Perfect. And we have one more. The core philosophy is that your biggest competitor is customers' effort and friction, not just other brands. How to eliminate the friction that justifies a higher price? For example, beer.
For example, beer.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I think prices is part of a conversation, but price is actually not the conversation. The conversation ultimately is about value. It's about the value you deliver and not the price that you charge. Because if we argue price is the case, then we should never be selling any Maybachs, or we should never be selling any Bugattis, or whatever the case may be, because on a price basis they're just expensive. But if you look at the value they deliver, which is in the form of identity and performance and a whole bunch of other things, then the conversation is very different. So I think I need to understand that question a little bit better. But I think selling beer is not about selling beer. It's going to be about selling the experience where beer is presented or where beer is offered. So purely selling beer is going to be, not necessarily, but selling beer that gets you access to something, to an event, or selling beer that provides a certain identity. There is where your conversation will go. Not just purely say, how do we make it as easy as possible for people to buy beer? Because I don't think there's a long-term success in that as such, unless we add around it.
Yes, it's the history behind what makes the customer connected to the brand that is actually going to justify everything. Because if you have a connection, it's there.
Yeah, but I think the big thing is that ultimately where people place value these days is that by buying something, it allows me access to something that other people cannot get. It's not a price thing. I mean, people pay huge amounts of money to attend festivals and events and so on. Not because but because ultimately we by joining certain brands or by collaborating with certain businesses or whatever the case may be, if you can offer something that people value but you cannot buy, suddenly the conversation changes completely. Yeah. So your brand should be asking, how do I create an experience? How do I create an event? How do I create an environment where by buying my product allows you access to certain things, and therefore you're saying, I don't care what the beer costs because I want to be part of this community. I want this identity, this experience. I need to be part of that. So whether you charge me $10 a bottle of beer or $5, I don't care. I'm going to buy it because I don't get the beer. I'm not buying the beer. I'm buying everything else that's connected to it.
Yes, perfect. I think that's all the questions we had. Thank you so much for your time. I see you in a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks so much. All right.
Bye-bye. That was awesome. So before we go to the next and last panel, I'm going to give some informations. And the main information is what you guys are waiting for since the first minute of the conference. That is the certification. So now is the time for you to fill up the form and get your certification. The QR code is here on the screen, and you can also have the link here in the comments. It's pretty easy to get access. You just submit the form. You can also have access to all the recording. Everything here is going to be in SendPulse Academy, and you can have all this content for forever. So you just have to create your account on SendPulse Academy if you don't have one yet. If you already have your account, you can just click in and I already have an account and enter the account. If you forgot your password, you can restore using forgot your password. Pretty basic. We all know that, and we use that all the time because it's impossible to remember all the passwords. So after logging into your account, the class will appear in the new classes section. You just have to roll the cursor down and generate your own certificate of attendance in the end of the section. Okay, it's pretty easy. So scan this QR code. Go to SendPulse Academy. If you have your account, log in. If you don't have, create one. There you're gonna have everything that you saw here today. So each speech is going to be a different class. In the end of all the classes, you submit your form and you get your certification. And again, after you get it, please publish on LinkedIn and tag all of us because it's very good to see who was here. And after that, we can also create like a community because we comment, we make more connections. It's the best. I love it so much. So you guys already have the most important thing. That is a certification that you guys have been asking for a while. But before we go to the last panel, I'm going to mention SendPulse one more time because I think it's the perfect timing to mention SendPulse again. As you probably know by this time, SendPulse is the organizer of this conference, and it's also an all-in-one marketing automation platform that helps business manage customers' communication across multiple platforms. The platform that put together all the tools that you need: email marketing, chatbots, CRM, and even online classes creation, like the ones that I just shared with you. So business can engage audience without needing multiple subscriptions. Why am I mentioning this here again? Well, we learn a lot today, a lot. We learn about how you can use AI. We learn about how to keep customers coming back, which is pretty important. It's the most important thing ever. We learn about how you can uncomplicate retention. So all of this can be implemented in SendPulse. Every single thing that you learn here today, you can get the knowledge and implement in SendPulse. So is the perfect fitting. And also, like we mentioned on Nataliya presentation, you can also have the access to the coupon code to use SendPulse for free for 1 month, the email marketing tool, which is amazing. You can test, you can use segmentation, you can do a lot of things there. So feel free to use SendPulse to implement everything that you learn here today. And now it's time for the last panel, which I know is as upsetting for you as it is upsetting for me to be arriving in the end of this conference, but it's going to be amazing. This last panel is going to be a panel discussion on how to build a community that customers can come back to, because again, that's the most important thing. We want customers, but we want them coming back all the time and loving your brand. So for this panel discussion, it's going to be me, Bianca Coscia, Chief Marketing Officer at SendPulse. Also, Jaco Prinsloo, because you guys just met him, the founder of Nexlo Technology Solutions, and Alla Zhdan. She is community lead at Svitla Systems. Hello, guys.
Hi. Hi, all. Hi, Jaco.
Hi, Bianca.
Hi, Bianca.
Hello. Hi, Alla.
I'm so excited, and I've just checked several speeches today, and yours as well. And I'm proud to be a part of this project, and I'm proud to be here today with you.
Excellent. We're happy to have you.
Yes, I am excited. Panel discussion is my favorite thing ever. So to start, we're going to have a blitz round. So 5 small questions. We can each give the answer that I'm going to give you the question. You guys reply to the options. So the first one is community as marketing or community as product?
Product.
Community as identity.
Okay.
Love it. The next one
I think is it just a short answer? We're just
no, but you can. No, you can go ahead.
No, I think the big one is that I think we need to move past the idea of community as a distribution list and just something we market to. Community needs to be part of an identity in your business, and community needs to happen without us as a business that provides a platform for the community actually getting involved. Our customers speaking to each other about our products, and if we do that, I think we're achieving success.
Perfect. The next one is brand-led community or customer-led community?
Customer-led.
Same for me.
What was the first option?
The brand-led or customer-led.
Yeah, no, I think it 100%. It needs to be, your community needs to own that space.
Perfect. The next one is niche community or mass community? For me, niche, 100%.
Niche. I'm with you, Bianca.
High five.
Yeah, look, I think mass community is going to result in a string of exits very quickly because the amount of topics in there is just going to be too varied.
Yeah, it's going to be too
community
chaotic.
needs to be around a topic. A community needs to be around a product or a service or a brand. It can't be generic.
Yes.
Then it's not a community.
Exactly. The other one is closed community or open chat. For me, close. but not super close, not so close that people cannot find. Close in a way that it's kind of open, but not too open. You at least have to register, do something about it.
I think that community is not chat at all. I'm trying to push that to everyone. It's not events, it's not chat, it's something totally different. So I'm more into close circle of people.
I think chat is effectively a forum. I don't think it's a community. I think if you speak of community as chat, I think that's effectively a forum. And I think if we speak of community in the true sense, we're saying it's a group of people with shared interest and knowledge and a shared connection to a brand or a product that are sharing, information or how-tos or whatever the case may be around that. So, yeah, I think that would be my side. Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
And the last one for the Blitz round is community instead of support or on top of it. For me, 100%.
Together, they should be together.
Like you should not replace your support by putting a community. Please don't do it.
No, I think you've got to be fair to your customers, because the reality around community is that it's voluntary. So I mean, community may well answer the question very well, but it may only happen 72 hours later, whereas your support will answer in 2 or 3 hours or whatever the case may be. So I don't think you can outsource it to your community per se, because it's just the nature of it is, it will happen, but it may not happen in good enough time as to what your customers expect from you.
Yeah, it would be weird if you have a community and not have a support and just wait for people to reply to your customers' answers. So support is always important to be there.
Yeah, you might lose some trust there, eh?
So that was the Blitz round. Now we have the 6 questions for the discussion. The questions will also pop up here in the screen. So the first one is, what is the biggest shift in community building let's do again. What is the biggest shift in community building that you have seen lately?
Alla, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, I can start. I think that was mentioned today several times because I'm in the work with internal communities, and I'm internal community lead at Svitla Systems. We are like outsourcing services and engaging our audience, and also I'm working with various communities as mentor and teacher. But yeah, what I'm observing right now is the shift to more customization rather than generic topics. So if you talk about community communications, you should segment your audience because you cannot drop messages to everyone. You should segment your audience by level, by location, maybe by some other like items that you have in your list. And also, I think localization is also something that you should take into account a lot. I think it's not something like new, but I've heard a lot from fellow community people about the way they have some troubles with shifting from localization and sending emails. For instance, we in various languages shifting to the one language as English, and it influences so bad to your open rate, to the way people are answering letters and just checking them. So take into account segmentation and localization, and this is something that is top today, I think.
Yeah, great. So I'm going to so what I said is community has stopped being a marketing channel and has become an identity channel, or an identity infrastructure as such. So what historically happened is, so what I put down here when I answered these questions was, brands used to build communities to have a captive audience. So the focus was actually not about community. The focus was actually just about putting people in a place that we could send stuff to them and communicate with them. Whereas today, that sort of flipped. The brand becomes the platform, and the community members create the value for each other. We facilitate, and we maybe curate to ensure that it's a safe space and so on, but we certainly don't drive the conversation. The value is created by members, for members, and we make it possible.
Yes, almost the same. Like here in Brazil, I'm seeing a big change of people going to WhatsApp a lot and building a lot of communities there. And from one community, people create another one, and it creates a very crazy and amazing environment of one main community that brings a lot of different people together. And people are actually creating good connections and good partnerships, because it takes a while for people to understand that you can make connections and you can like make partnership outside of like events, for example, because like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people were like, oh, I have to go to events to meet people. And now they're like, oh, I have everything here on my hand on WhatsApp. And they're creating a lot of beautiful things on WhatsApp here in Brazil. And I love to see that, because that was not very present. And now it is.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah.
The other
Look,
question.
I think the interesting thing, sorry, Bianca, I think the interesting thing is that I think we've almost started to overextend WhatsApp. And I think we're starting to move into a WhatsApp fatigue space now, where there's too much and too many messages so I'm certainly seeing that people are pulling back from WhatsApp and saying, I need other channels to manage my business that does not keep me up. You know, obviously the bots and so on that sit outside of your normal WhatsApp space, but just in terms of I think there's been sort of an overreach in WhatsApp, and I think there's a bit of pullback in South Africa now specifically. In some other countries, obviously WhatsApp is adopted in some places more and some places less, but there's definitely a bit of pullback here now, saying we need to regain a bit of sanity. Obviously that sanity doesn't live in terms of email marketing lists and those sort of things, because I think email to a large extent is dead. But there's a bit of pull saying, I actually need to get that sort of AI WhatsApp bot in place, because otherwise I'm going to answer questions 24 hours a day as a small business owner type of thing.
Yeah, because on WhatsApp, you have people there 24/7 sending you messages all the time at any hour.
Which in itself is great as a business owner.
Yes.
The trouble is they expect an immediate response, regardless of when they send it. You know, so for you as a business owner trying to make some sort of sense of a balanced life, that's going to be a challenge. You know? So the chatbots that can sort of deal with probably 95% of the conversations that are recurring is a great win for these young business or small business owners at a relatively quick implementation and low cost. I mean, so we're certainly seeing a big adoption on that side.
Yes, I mean, we talk about chatbot and SendPulse all the time, and always when I see a business, because every business, at least in Brazil, is on WhatsApp, I'm always like, get a chatbot. Like that's gonna save your life. Because people do need like answers as soon as possible, which is it shows also a lot about how people have a lot of anxiety now, and it's a crazy moment for people to talk with each other, because everything has to be in a rush, and that's another point. That's more another webinar, another conference for that, but it's a very important topic.
If you organize that one, you've got to organize a couple of days for it, because that's a very big conversation. That
yes.
Bianca, prepare.
Yes, I'm going to start. Olena, please, next conference is going to be 3 days only about mental
12 hours
health.
a day.
Yes. The second question is, what does a community say about your brand that marketing can't? For me, I am from marketing, always being from marketing. I mean, it's a bit on sales, but you know, and community can give you such a good feedback on how people actually see from the brand. Because one thing is me, like the brand saying, oh, people love me. Oh my God, everyone loves SendPulse. That is one thing. But when people in a community says that they love you, it brings so much more trust, because it's not like, how can I put those words? Like, it's not fake. It's not someone that it's in the back of the brand thinking about what to say. It's real people giving real feedback. And this can be for bad and for good. Me as a customer, I love listening bad things. And bad things happen. Like, no one is perfect. And if you only have good feedbacks, that's a red flag. don't close business if it's weird.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
community.
no, I think 100%. Alla, do you want to?
I was the first previous question, so Bianca, is the stage was all yours.
So that was it. Like,
So I actually, my first point to that question was a community only marketing artifact that is impossible to fake. I mean, that's what you've just said. So a community is very difficult to fake. So you can fake a community of 10 or 15 people potentially by getting some friends and so on to form a community. But as you start to get into the hundreds of users, suddenly. We got to say, oh well, there's a community around this business. They've got to be doing something right. They've got to be delivering some sort of value. So it creates credibility, doesn't it? And it creates trust. The second thing we spoke about here is that it speaks about retention, because if you've got a community, it means customers have stayed. They haven't come and gone. They've actually decided to stick around and go further and so on. And the third thing that I said is that it gives us an idea as to the customers that our business is actually attracting, and it gives other people or other customers an idea of saying, I'm in the right space, I'm with the right people, because these are all small business owners, or these are all whatever they may be. It creates a positioning element, or it creates a segmentation element that gives people an idea as to whether is this my place? Is this where I belong?
Yep. Perfect. I totally agree with you, Jaco. And also I have 3 points as well. Well, this is coincidence that we cannot expect, but I had 3 points. First one is rituals, and you cannot share those rituals via social media and marketing, but people can just take part and see and touch the feeling of the community and the brand that you can give them. Also, sense of belonging. You cannot connect with social media. You can connect with accounts and even drop messages to the brand, but at the same time, the sense of belonging is different when you think of community. And also word of mouth. We should not forget about that, because we share the way we like our brands, not mainly in our social media, for instance, or everywhere. We just talk about it with our friends, with our family, with people who can maybe benefit somehow from SendPulse or other tools that are amazing. And I think this is what can differ community from marketing influence.
100%.
Yes. The third question is, which is, at least for me, is kind of tricky. When is the right time in a company's life to launch a community?
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg scenario, isn't it? Because you launch it too early, you don't have enough people, and because you don't have people, no one joins, so you don't. So I mean, it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. So I think you've got to realize that day one is probably not the answer. So you've got to get to a point where there's sort of that minimum sort of number of people that can make this effective. So do you reach that stage in a week or a month or a year? I don't know, but I think there needs to be enough there for people to be able to, for other consumers or for other community members to be able to attract or to experience that there's value being created. So that might be far down the line, in your business, or it might be something that you can achieve in 6 months. But I think it's a chicken and egg. You need to, don't create it and there's an empty platform, because then, you sort of need to get people that have visited to come back there later on. So don't do it too early. I think you'll know when it's right.
I think that says everything. You know when it's right. Exactly. It's so difficult. Like it can change based on your segment, based on how many people you have. For example, I'm crazy about makeup. I love makeup. If I have a small group of like a brand, for example, a brand launch today, and I see an ad of like, hey, join my community. And there's like 3 people there. I'm going to join, because you can learn a lot with 3 people. And you can like share tips and all of that. But if you have, for example, a platform that needs a lot of different opinions, if you have 3 people, it's nothing. So it changes a lot.
Yeah. There's sorry, Alla, you haven't weighed in on this one yet.
Yeah, I think it's about right time, and it's about right order of actions that you need to do, because I love English language, and I think that there is a thing about adjectives and about the way you should put them in the right order. And I know this abbreviation that I remember from my school: COMP, color, origin, material, purpose. This is the right order to place adjectives in a sentence. For instance, brown, Dutch, coffee tables, right? So you have correct order. The same, I think, approach we should take into account while building community management and doing that. And I made my abbreviation VAFT: value, aim, format, and tools, which is also correct order to approach community management and building your community. So you should need to know value and what value you can bring to community while taking into account your value as a business, because always business-oriented scene is important. So when you know your value that you can give your community, you should move to the aim, to the goal, to the thing that you are targeting with this community, and to the goals that your community can get from this community, like new tips on putting makeup. I don't know, anything, Bianca, for you, for your community tips. And when you have value and aim, you should think of the format, because sometimes people first engage the format, create events, do something, but they don't take into account value and aim. So value, aim, format, and then you can pick up the tools, correct tools to do that, correct tools for email marketing to reach your community, correct tools for automatizations and doing various things, correct tools for onboarding. So take that into account, and yeah, I think it could help you. So VAFT, value, aim, format, and tools.
That's very cool. I think, Bianca, there's maybe one, the right time is maybe one part of that question, but I think the other part of that question that's quite important is that there needs to be purpose. And we fundamentally always in our conversation with clients saying that if we don't have purpose, the rest becomes very difficult to execute. So first we have to have purpose, and then timing becomes a question. But if there's no purpose, then timing is never going to be right.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So purpose needs to be fundamental to a community, or is fundamental to a community. Without that, I think any other conversations are going to be short-lived.
Yes, exactly. The fourth question is, how do you keep long-term members engaged and not burned out?
I have answer for this one. And
Excellent.
I think that you should design some extra opportunities for your long-term members, such as ambassadors programs or leadership programs. There is a strict difference between community leaders and community ambassadors, because community leaders are people who can help you to design community, who can be your people inside the community to send the message in the right way to your audience, because you can be amazing, you can be cool community manager, but only community member knows community the best. So find your people, your community leaders inside the community to share the ideas and to pass the messages that you need from stakeholders to the community and back. And also ambassadors programs. I think this is just an amazing thing, and a lot of brands have it, such as Superhuman, which is former Grammarly. Asana has the program, and also Notion. I think we can name a lot of such organizations who have it. So yeah, take into account maybe your members can actually help you to design your community and help you to make some changes, and good changes as well. And it will be some proud moment for them, because they can be not only members, but they can their decisions and their thoughts are taken into account.
Yeah, I think Alla is perfectly on point there. So the short version of it, in my view, is just it's gamification. So ultimately it's about having a program, and that's the same reason that people are still involved in LinkedIn and in Facebook and all these sort of platforms. Once you become a super fan, or you achieve certain levels, or whatever the case may be, or with Google Maps, you've seen many of these platforms. So then ultimately, if there's no gamification element, there's no way for me, or no program, as Alla says, that ultimately shows that I'm an expert in this space, or I'm the captain of this team, or whatever the case may be, or I've achieved 5 stars because I've been contributing for 5 years content that is voted up, and you know, I forget the name now. Stack. What's the platform? Stack something? No.
Don't remember.
Stack Overflow. So, but ultimately, it's about sort of that we need to create a program that we identify the leaders, but the leaders get credibility through their answers, which is voted by. So there needs to be a program, but the program ultimately is sort of supportive of this sort of gamification environment that keeps people engaged. And that engagement leads them to achieve certain things, and therefore they keep on coming back, because, you know, it's like a drug, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I 100% agree with you. Like, it has to be something there. They have to feel like they are part of something, and not that just the community is there and I'm gonna open when I need something. No, it needs to be part of the daily routine. Like, that's important for me. It is important for me to be a member of this thing, whatever people call. And I think that's
about that ritual, yeah. That's about that ritual I spoke about in, I think, mechanic number 5 is about, you want to get your community to, the first thing in the morning they do is to open the SendPulse community app and answer 5 quick questions and quickly get their points, which will then, you know, accumulate and stuff, and then carry on with their day. You know, you want to create those rituals that people voluntarily follow and are engaged with and are excited about, you know. And I think that's how you really get people to come back, and that's how you create value for them, but you also create value for your platform and therefore for your other members, you know.
I think that we should build communities that feel like if you are not there, if you're not in chat, or you missed the event, you feel like you missed a lot, you know?
Yes, FOMO, yeah.
I think it's good thing.
100%.
Well.
100%.
Perfect. So the 5th question is, where should automation start and stop inside of a community?
Is it mine? Is it yours?
Yeah, yours, Bianca.
I'm thinking a lot about it.
Automation handles the logistics, but not the relationships.
Yes.
Exactly. Like, don't automate your communication.
Not to replace, but to help us to efficiently engage.
Yes. It has to be just like the start point, just the main communication, things that it's not like, I know that it's because it's very, it's very different. Like, if you're going to send an email campaign, a mass email campaign for everyone, segmentation is going to change a lot of things, and it's going to be a great way for you to talk to people. But the community is different. It doesn't matter if you do segmentation. That's not what people are looking for. So the automation should be to bring people in the community, to remember them, remind them, hey, you have something here, but not to post daily on the community using automation, because it breaks the point of having a community if it's all automated. Like, just don't have
automation to support your gamification or your program. That's where it needs to sit.
Yes.
In my opinion, yeah. Maybe Alla doesn't agree. We'll see now.
I've been presenting this topic about not so boring community management in London last year. So I was talking about reporting, analysis, and research. And I think this is something that you can give to machines, and they can help you to overwork big amount of information and help you to make a year in review report, for instance, make something amazing. How many members joined your community? What are the levels? What are the top topics discussed this year? And all that can help you with ChatGPT or other tool can help you with that. For sure. But when you talk about onboarding, and I think this is one of the trends that I've observed on the conferences and events dedicated to community management, human touch is a must in onboarding. So don't automate it, please.
You're begging.
Yeah.
I think, I said, look, AI is brilliant at the boring stuff. It frees humans to work on what matters. And that's, I think, sort of where it needs to be.
Perfect. And the last question, the closing question. And after that, we have to answer one question here, but from the quiz, that's the last one. if you could give a small and medium business just one piece of advice about community, what it would be?
I have two.
Awesome.
we can go step
for
by
it.
step.
Go for it.
Yeah. So the first one is community is about creating opportunities. You need to think that you are creating opportunities, and you need to think that you try to analyze your audience, try to find the best thing to do for them, and then you create those opportunities, and they either use them or not, and you analyze and iterate again and again, try to find the best options for your community. So think about it like that, because sometimes community managers whom I mentor, they say, okay, I did everything. I sent all the emails. I tried to ping everyone personally. I did a lot. And this is what they asked. I made survey. They answered. They wanted this. And I did that for them. And they didn't attend it. So what is going on? And I'm like, you create opportunities, and then you iterate, then you analyze, you research, and think how you can do it differently, maybe, yes, but at the same time, create opportunities. And the second thing is about community is a living organism, and nobody knows community better than the community members. So always ask you and go to your community members. You can be amazing. You can be awesome community manager, but you cannot be, for instance, project manager, because you are driving community of project managers. You don't know their pains. You don't know what the world in which they are living. So ask them, try to engage with them, community leaders, ambassadors, and people, and that's how you can truly make something awesome. Because if you are like having all your assumptions or assumptions of business, it could not maybe work perfectly. So try to go to your community and ask them about what you should do.
Awesome.
I think the advice is create the community for the customers you have, not for anyone else. So what I said here, don't create a community for the customers you wish you had. Create it for the customers you have, and therefore value for them. So I think there shouldn't be assumptions. Community should be real. It should be authentic. It should speak to the needs of your customers. And if that's different to what you think that might be, or your customers would have been or might have been, that's okay. But the reality is that if you're going to create a community and you're going to create it for someone and intend it for someone else or something else, it's not going to work, because it's not going to speak to the needs of the people that are actually there, paying you money to use your business or service or whatever the case may be. So create it for the people that are there and for the needs that they, for the purpose that they need. And I think if you do that, your community will work and will succeed.
Yes. And for me, it's like, do your research. Don't create a community because someone told you to. Understand your public, research a lot. And before even start a community, because something can work for me, but cannot work for you. And that's for everything, okay? Not only community, for everything you have to do your own research. Understand the public, understand what they want, do researches, send out email campaigns asking what they want. That's what we did here in SendPulse. We're like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want to see here? Because that's going to change everything, and it's going to make you feel more comfortable to actually start. Because when we start with no basic, we are like, what is happening here? So if you ask, sometimes all we have to do in life is ask, and we are going to have at least the basic to start. So that's my advice, and just do it.
It's 100% spot on. The interesting thing is that so many businesses never ask their customers.
Oh yes,
we're just pushing them. We're pushing information, and we're pushing sales, and we're pushing campaigns to get more. But we're never actually saying, how are we doing? And I'm not talking about a review of a product that we've received, because I'm saying, this is our roadmap, give us a view on it, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying you can send that sort of question out to, a million people and expect to get but I think we need to be asking our customers more of how are we doing as a business, not how is our product doing, or how do you like our product? Because a product is fleeting, it's not going to exist forever, it's going to change over time. but how are we doing as a business? Are we going the right direction? What, how would you do things differently? Whatever the case may be. And those are maybe smaller group conversations with high value customers.
Yes.
But ask your customers. You don't have to guess. Most of them,
Exactly.
Yep.
most of them have a problem to tell you, listen, actually, I think you're making a mistake by doing this. I would have done that. And you don't have to agree with them, but I mean, most of them, all of them, I mean, I don't think there's anyone that doesn't have an opinion in 2026. Whether it's right or wrong is a different story, but I think everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, communication is key for everything in life. It's the advice
Customer
for life.
development.
Yeah. So that was the last question. We have the last question here from the chat. That is from Franjo, and he had to leave, but we are going to reply, and he can watch it when he comes back. How to build a community that customers actually want to come back to without spamming them. We kind of answer in all of the other messages, but if you guys have any other piece of advice, any theory, whatever.
Alla?
Yeah, I think that the best thing is not to overwhelm people with the communications. Yes, you are a community manager or a social media manager or a person who delivers those messages. And it's you who are interested in those messages, because if people won't need them, you will lose your job, right? So you are interested in those messages and sending them and spamming and sharing those. But at the same time, stop sending a lot of communications. I've been working with a community of project managers for a lot, and everyone wanted to reach project managers because project managers cascade the information to their teams. So everyone wanted to reach project managers. And my task was to prevent them from doing that because they are overwhelmed and they cannot share everything and do the job that people should do on their own. So try to find other formats. This is the case that we had. We had a lot of various small pieces of information that people were targeting to share via our weekly call. We have a weekly call for all the community, so everyone wanted to share something on those calls. And then we made a rule: if your message is less than 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we make an open mic format, and we hop on the call with you. We have cool backgrounds. We prepare for you. We brief you, and you share your message. We record it and we put into our community. And that there is a strict target: fill in the survey or do something or be aware of this information. And we managed to reach half of our community was actually watching those videos. We had the statistics, while the calls that we made, not like 20% of people were joining, but these videos were actually, because this is 5 minutes. You check information. So maybe I think my advice is to build your community, taking into account with various formats and various, not just emails, not just events, but maybe think of something short, something cool, quests, activities. I don't know. Try different things.
Yeah, I think the question is maybe sort of looking at this a bit from the wrong angle, because if you create a community with purpose and people want to be there, so that, remember, people, there's a need. There's already a need. We create the community to speak to that need of an individual. We don't have to spam them to be there. We just have to remind them that we've created this community and we want their feedback, or we want their input, or we want their. So no, if you, there's no way you can create email campaigns to get people to get involved in stuff that they're not interested in. It doesn't matter how good you do it. It doesn't matter what design. It doesn't matter how often you send it. It's not gonna stay. So if there's no purpose, and if it's not relevant to me, it's not going to work. So create a community that has purpose, that speaks to the need of the individuals you're targeting, and the community, and remind them, and put the program and put the gamification in place so that people can we can create those rituals. The emails will become, will actually not be relevant anymore.
Perfect.
So I think we can't spam people into being part of a community, or spam them into joining, or spam them into visiting. Then we're missing the point completely.
That was perfect. It's exactly that. I have nothing more to add. You guys rock it. So that was the last question. So thank you so much. It was amazing. It was such a pleasure being here talking to you and discussing a little bit about such an important topic. So thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, and for everything.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bianca.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jaco, for amazing company.
Thank you,
you.
Alla. Thank you. Really great to join you guys. Looking forward to the next one. And thanks for organizing it. It's been great. Yeah, it's been amazing.
We're glad to
I've also
hear.
learned a lot. Yeah, I've also learned a lot. So it's always good to get other perspectives, you know?
That's important. That's what makes our hearts very happy. So thank you so much,
Well
guys.
done.
We keep talking. Bye-bye.
Right, take care.
Bye.
Yep. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
Adi. Bye-bye.
It was so good. I love it. Of course, I love it. I like everything that SendPulse does. I love it because I think it's such important and it's a great way for you to learn with so many people and people that have so many different visions, and that's what makes us really learn. Because if we only listen opinion from one person, that's not learning. So I love when we have those type of events. But everything that is good has to come to an end, because we cannot stay here forever. I would love a 24 hours conference, but we cannot provide that right now. So before I say goodbye to you all, I'm gonna talk about the certificate, about SendPulse, and some important information. So the link to get the certification submitted is in the chat, but it can also show up here in the screen. It's already here on the screen. With this link, you get access to recordings and the opportunity to generate your own certificate. You just have to go to the link to the chat or scan the QR code here in the screen. There you're gonna go to SendPulse Academy. If you have an account, you can just log in and the class is gonna show up there. If you don't have an account, just create and you're gonna see the class. The class is gonna have all the speakers and everything that you saw here today. And the end of the class, you can have your certificate. And please, when you have it, save it and post on LinkedIn and tag all of us, because we're gonna love to see it. The other communication is about SendPulse again, because I'm always here talking about SendPulse. And again, I think that was the perfect conference for we all to understand more about what we can do. And like I mentioned, it's more than just the platform, is a strategy behind it. And today we learn a lot of new things. So for you to implement all of that, you can use SendPulse, that is a multi-channel marketing automation platform that helps business manage customers' communication across multiple channels. The platform consolidates tools like email marketing, chatbots, CRM, and even online course creations. And also like everything that you think we have. And if we don't have, just hit us up and we're gonna make our best to create what you need. But it's a very complete platform we use for everything. You can automate everything. There's my favorite tool. My favorite tool of all time is Automation 360. And by the name, you know, you can connect everything that we provide in one board. And it's perfect because you can send the right message to the right person. Like if the person does not open the email, you send an SMS. And it goes like that. It's my favorite. I could keep talking about it for hours, but I'm not, because we have time. But go scan this QR code. You can also test SendPulse and go to the community and give us a feedback. We will love to know. Now you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, give a like on this video. If you like the video, leave a comment. If you're seeing this after the conference is done, you can also leave a comment. We are gonna read the comment afterwards. So please subscribe to the channel. We post a lot of content here about marketing, about updates, about tutorials, and we have conferences all the time like this, and they're all great. So please subscribe and hit the like button. And also, if you want, there's a bell sign down here. If you click it, you're going to receive notifications from new videos. So please do it as well. And another thing is the SendPulse community. Like we were just talking, we do have a community, and there, if you join the community, you can have a free guide for WhatsApp. It's a guide that we created that shows everything that you need to know for WhatsApp, for customer retention. So you have a lot of tips and tricks there that you can learn and implement right now, and it's only available on the community. So scan this QR code, join the community, make new connections. There's people from all around the world there. So it's amazing. You can learn a lot, make connections, partnership, learn more about SendPulse, ask questions about SendPulse, ask questions about business, everything you want and a bit more here on this QR code. And I think that's all the communications I had to do. Now it's my time to say goodbye. Thank you so much. If you want to see more content like that, and just go to our social media, SendPulse. There you can have all updates, not only about SendPulse, but also about future events and webinars that we are going to organize. Thank you, Alina, for being here in the comments, for organizing everything. You were amazing. Thank you, SendPulse, for another amazing event. And hopefully I can see you all soon. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Bye-bye.